health is not just like working out. Health is your mental health, your physical health, and your spiritual health. If I focus on my health and then business, I will actually make the most money. People need to understand that if they're not taking care of themselves, who's really suffering is all the people they love and all the people they're responsible for.
Health is wealth, and that is why I have Adam Young on as another repeat guest to talk about not just business this time, but his health. He's gone through an incredible transformation. We'll have it somewhere on the screen, the before, maybe even the middle and after this coin.
Yeah, I'm willing to share.
So I remember we met up, here it is, February. We met up in October, and you were an in-shape Adam, but a different type of in-shape Adam.
Yeah.
But let's go back to the start. So before you started this journey, 2 years ago.
Yeah, June 15th, 2023 when I started. And I had moved back to Michigan during COVID. And it was really hard because most of the restaurants had closed. And I was living in a private lake community. And so it wasn't near like city area where you have a lot of options. And I was working really hard and dealing with a lot of nonsense at that time. Ringba was growing exponentially. And I just wasn't taking care of my health, which is really odd for me because I grew up playing Junior Olympic water polo. I swam all the way through Junior Olympic. I climbed some of the world's tallest mountains in my 20s. I have done yoga for 15 years. Like, health has always been a big part of my life. But for whatever reason, after COVID, when that happened, it just got away from me. There were also no gyms that were open. And I watched it happen, but it happened slowly, right? And so over time, I lost a lot of muscle and I gained, I don't know, maybe 20 pounds. And then I moved to Miami and I had to really think about where I was at in my life, what I wanted to do. And I started doing 2-a-days in the gym immediately. And then my second week, I tweaked my lower back, which I had blown out before, and I tore my left rotator cuff. Yeah.
Not a good start.
I went a little too hard, okay? I got a little out of control.
Where did the spark come from? Like, what made that decision, helped you make that decision?
Well, I was in a 12-year relationship, and she left me because I wouldn't stop working, stop traveling for work. And she was like, we have enough money, but it's not about that for me. Like, I have to be mentally engaged in something or I go insane. And so if we sold Ringba, I'd have to start something else immediately. Like, there would be no like, oh, I'm going to take 6 months off and live on the beach in Thailand or something. Like, no. I would be immediately knee deep in some new shit. And so I told her no, and she's like, well, I don't want to travel with you, and I don't want my partner to be gone 35 to 40% of the year. And so we were done. And so I moved to Miami, and I had this beautiful opportunity to reassess everything in my life, and I forced myself to go through that process. And in that process, I realized that my priorities were business and whatever the fuck else. Now, I would lie to you before this and say they were like, oh, my relationship and my family or whatever, but vulnerable moment here, that's bullshit. It was business, whatever the fuck else. And that cavalier about it too.
Was it always like that before?
Yeah, but I worked out a lot because I just loved doing it. So health was like more in my mind space pre-moving to Michigan, but still it wasn't my top priority. Like I said, I gained 20 pounds when I moved to Michigan, but since then I've lost 30. So I wasn't in great shape. I was just in decent shape.
You weren't obese.
I wasn't obese. I've never been obese, but well, if you ask Kim, I was obese.
You had a high body fat percentage.
Yeah, very high. Yeah, and it just wasn't good. And I had a lot of back pain because I have scoliosis, minor, like just a little bit, and kyphosis from sitting in front of a computer my entire life. And so I had a lot of back pain when I got to Miami from that. I have a knee injury. That was hurting all day. I have arthritis in my big left toe. Like, that was fucking hurting all day. And I just felt sluggish. And lucky for me, I was still performing for my team at a very high levels, right? But that's just this muscle, right? And I never stopped working that thing out. But all of this was just going to hell. And I was 39 when I moved to Miami. I'm 40 now. And so, like, those couple years in Michigan, and then that, like, I allowed my body to go bad, and I destroyed myself at the worst possible time, which is when, most of these things start failing. And then it's really hard to build it back. And so when I did the priority shift, I realized in an introspective moment that if I focus on my health, my education, my relationships, and then business, I will actually make the most money. But more importantly, I'll be able to serve everyone that's important to me and I'm responsible for at a higher level.
Those are pretty good.
Exactly. And so I was like, all right. So I think the best thing I can do for my company, for my partners, for my friends, for the industry, for the people I love and care about is show them by example that a transformation can happen, and then also how valuable that transformation can be. And so I did exactly that. And by the way, health is not just like working out. Health is your mental health, your physical health, and your spiritual health, right? And your emotional health. Then education is also like, what do I want to learn that's important for my business? But what do I just want to learn about in general? What skills can I acquire that'll just help me and my mind get stronger? And that can even be like leadership, interpersonal skills, like whatever, right? Education is very broad. And then relationships, professional and personal. So that means the people I'm responsible for, my partners, my friends, my clients, my relationship with Kim, all of those fit into that. And like I have to invest in all of those. And then business, which seems counterintuitive, but I'm having the most fun I've ever had. I'm doing the most fun things, but I'm also working the hardest and I'm the most productive overall that I've been through this shift.
Because you're showing up as the better version of Adam.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, in fact, the mission of that priority structure is to show up as the best version of yourself every day and to constantly improve. So I tell this story because I like it a lot. A Fortune 500 CEO wanted to talk to me about doing business, and his assistant sent me one time slot, and it was Tuesday at noon. Now, you've been to the class with me. You know that Tuesday at 12:15, I'm in Miami Beach in a hot sculpt class, and I'm not skipping that shit for anybody. And so I emailed him back, hey, sorry, can't make it. I have Pilates class. And what was funny is the assistant didn't reply, the CEO did. And he said, I love Pilates. Will you send him 5 more time slots? And then we had our call, right? Now, I would have been scared shitless to do that a decade ago. Like, oh my God, I could lose the business. But in reality, I think what happened is the guy respected me more because I wasn't willing to compromise on my priorities. And when we did speak, we actually talked about that briefly. And he was like, I love that you are, unwilling to budge on your health. It's really important to me too. And most of the high performance CEOs that I know that are older have started to focus on these things. Not all. Yeah, but my friend group. Yeah.
Was there like a program or you have like a coach or someone guiding you through this process?
No, it's not that complicated. People make it way too complicated. The reality is I weighed 187 pounds, and my resting metabolism was like 2,000 calories a day. With the exercise, 2,200, 2,300. And so I was like, cool, I need to eat 1,600 calories a day, and I'm going to eat one meal a day. And so I don't drink anything but water. I mean, I have a coffee here, water. And I did one meal a day for an entire year, a little bit over a year. and then shed the weight. Now, I wasn't perfect. I still eat out every day for all my meals, which is one generally. And, I still like to eat things like Italian pizza and whatever. I just limit the portions so that I know I'm falling into the macros, and I'm not perfect, but I'm close. And so it's really that simple. It's diet and exercise, but you have to be hyper disciplined and consistent about it or it doesn't work. So I just don't screw it up. Like, I don't have a willpower issue. And I know it's really hard for a lot of people, but that's simply because they haven't decided that this is important to them. It's just simply a choice.
It's a choice every day.
Yeah. What's most important to you? Your future or you today? Because if it's your future, then all of these things aren't that complicated. If it's you today, then you're going to eat the 5 pieces of cake.
You feel like the inner athlete that you are and you were, that identity came back out when you had those 4 a.m., 5 a.m. daily wake ups for swimming practice. That's hard. That molds you.
Yeah, it was 4 a.m. It's wild.
Every day for how many years?
10.
Swimmers are not more. I wrestled. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But swimming is you're doing it in the morning, super early, and you're a kid. You don't want to do that.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that. So I had a lot of respect for the wrestlers. They were the only ones at the school in the morning like us. They were only there Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I remember a wrestler telling the seniors in high school, wrestling's the hardest sport. And the seniors in high school were like, listen, we want to invite you to come swim because we don't want to do that to you, but why don't you play a season of water polo with us? And so we had a wrestler with the balls to come do it. And I got to respect him a lot. He wasn't a great swimmer, definitely didn't make the varsity team, but he spent the entire season with us and saw that level of suffering, essentially. Because that pool's 69 degrees, and in Michigan, it's snowing outside. Miserable. And we did it every day. And then after school, every day. Yeah. Weekends too.
Do you find you've worked with a lot of people over the last 20 plus years in business? Do you notice a distinction between people that were former athletes?
Hold on a second. Hey guys, thank you. Don't cut that.
You've been in this industry and essentially self-employed in some form for the last 24 years.
Yeah.
Maybe more. Do you notice a distinction from the people that you've learned were former athletes at a younger age versus the ones that had nothing to do with sports, that they have some kind of advantage in adversity and working through things?
Definitely. We seek out people who were athletes. I mean, look, there's something to be said for competing. And also depends on the sport too, right? If you play no disrespect to football players or basketball players or whatever in a team sport, you're there and you're supporting the team. Swimming's very interesting because you're on a team, but it's entirely based on individual performance on that team. And so it's really a brutal process. So I love swimmers. I love to seek them out. They're highly disciplined and they're usually very intelligent. Because for someone to have that level of mental discipline to do it, they have to have control over their mind from a young age. But I love all types of athletes, and I find they're more resilient as they get older, and they remember how to do these things. Now, a lot of athletes lose their way when they get older. People have kids, people have responsibilities, these types of things, and they let themselves go. And that really screws up how they feel, how they're able to perform at work, and then also how people view them in the marketplace and in the workplace.
You went through there, more or less.
Yeah. And so when someone walks in the room, male, female, whatever, doesn't matter, and they are in excellent shape, you immediately respect that person and trust them more because you can't buy it. You have to earn it. And so when you see someone that's earning it, you're like, okay, this person's disciplined. They're willing to do hard things. In business, when there's a dispute, that's hard. A lot of people can't handle it, and so they make bad decisions, like not pay their bills, or not publicly communicate, or not take responsibility and apologize. Those are hard things to do. I find that people who are disciplined and athletic, take care of themselves, can do those things at a higher percentage. Not to say that, people who aren't athletic can't be that way, but those things are discipline too, because they're pain, right?
Over extended periods of time after.
Exactly. So like if I have to, let's say we have an issue on the Ringba exchange, or I have a customer issue. And honestly, it's not my fault. But I'm going to need to pay for it. I don't love that, okay? None of us love that. For me, though, I don't have a problem apologizing, just dealing with it, looking at the long term. Or even if there is no business to be had, just owning a mistake if I should. Sometimes eating shit when I shouldn't. Because that's how you invest long term in your brand. But a lot of people can't do that or won't do that because it's really hard. It's hard for a lot of people to accept responsibility. And
sports teaches you that. So
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And to be coachable.
Exactly. Exactly. And so I think that was an amazing experience for me, and it definitely helped a lot. Also, the muscle memory was very helpful. I mean, yes and no. I can't build big muscle like that, which I'm a little jealous. I'm not going to lie. I mean, the meatheads in the gyms in Miami stare at me like, who is this mutant, right? Like, I'm very strong right now, but I can't do that. It's really disappointing.
Give it time, man. You're putting size off. Give it
yes, but, I'm not. Yeah, we'll see.
So you've always been high functioning.
Yeah.
Ringba wouldn't have been working at the level it was, even with you not eating consistently, training at all. Will sound more or less consistent on the dailies. How different is your life and your business and your relationships now that you have this high level of consistency and your discipline is maximal with nutrition?
Everything is better. Everything. Happier. Obviously healthier. I'm able to work longer hours. My stress management is incredible right now. Like, I don't think there's anything that I could go through right now that would really knock me off balance. My relationship is great because of it. I see people when they get in a relationship, like, start to let themselves go. A lot of times it's both partners. And that negatively affects mood, emotional stability, their sex life. Like, literally everything's negatively affected by that. And so, for me, I'm not willing to go back to that place. It was also it was a lot of work to get out of it, but I don't think people consider the consequences of those decisions. Guys! They're not going to get to fly again. They keep this shit up. And so, like, when partners in relationships don't take care of themselves, a lot of things start to change, right? Like, and it gets messy, and you see it all the time. In reality, you want to be in a partnership where both people are committed to having great health and then helping lift each other up and continue to do that. Now, as a male, you generally have to set that example, and you should. And I thought this was really important for me to set the example of my team as well. Like, the whole Ringba team understands what happened to me. I was very transparent about it because they were like, Adam just moved to Miami. What the fuck, right? And so I told them all very openly, willing to answer questions. I mean, I gave a keynote on this in front of hundreds of people. But by being transparent with the whole organization about the journey I was going on, it was very inspirational for them. And now we have like a fitness channel and daily accountability and all these other things. And all of our people are competitive, even the devs, right? And so a lot of people participate, and it's a really, really cool thing. And I know as their health gets better, they're going to perform better at work and have healthier relationships in their personal life, which means they win, we win, you win as a customer. And so the health of you and your team members, your organization is actually a really great lever you can pull or inspire with to improve performance all the way across the board, right?
So you not only have an impact on yourself and then obviously your company as a byproduct, but the lives of the people, everyone in your reach.
In my reach, yeah.
That's super cool.
Like, it was interesting. The most common conversations I had at Affiliate Summit were, can you introduce me to some buyers? No. Damn, dude, like, you are ripped. How did this happen? Conversations about health and whatever. I got to make 5 introductions to my doctor when we land. And I think what's really interesting about that is a lot of people in the industry know me. They've been in the industry a really long time. I'm all over the place. Ringba's all over the place. And so it's much easier for them to see this transformation, what I'm doing. And so I think it's a really cool thing that other entrepreneurs and people in the space have recognized it and come talk to me about it. Not because I want, I love compliments, but like really I start to ask them what they're doing and then try and have an impact and like help them move their ball forward. And it's a really, really cool thing because I think I'll have more impact with something like that than, be like, oh, you should read my book and do some pay-per-call.
I think it's super cool because this industry, there are a lot of high functioning guys, but a lot of people with high functioning problems too.
Yeah.
Substance abuse, alcohol, just real things. It ends up a lot of these guys. They don't exercise. Imagine how better their lives and their business would be if they just make 1 or 2 decisions to be better 80% of the time.
Yeah. I mean, that's another thing. I don't drink at all. Like,
Huge edge.
huge edge. And I have no desire to do so. There's no temptation whatsoever. Like, I went to the affiliate ball and bought everyone there a tequila shot, handed them out myself, and did 0, right? Like, I have literally no interest. I think it's gross. Because I'm not willing to do anything that lowers my cognition or faculties, right? Like, I do not want to be seen out in public, like, stumbling. And a couple of reasons for that. 1, I hate it. 2, I'm responsible for a lot of people and a lot of people's businesses. And so I want them to see, like, hey, no matter what, this guy is disciplined, he is available, he is on it, right? Like, we don't have to worry about his behavior. Consistent. Like, ruthless calculating machine. Like, that's the level I want to operate at. And a lot of people tell me, like, dude, you are out of control hardcore. That's my favorite compliment because it's like, yeah, I'm glad you see it. And what you don't see is even more. And I get funny DMs all the time because I've been going out and having more fun lately. But like, we went to Live the other night before we went to Affiliate Summit, and like, I'm not drinking. It's just not happening. And what was cool is most of our group didn't really drink. We threw away more than 70% of the alcohol we had to buy to see Cascade. Like, it was nuts. But we literally threw it all away. Like, when we were leaving, I know you left early, but when me and the girls were leaving, I was like, the hell? They didn't even drink it, which is nuts. So, and then we all had a great time. Like, there was no drama, no nonsense, no bullshit. And then I slept for 2 hours, and then I got up and went to Affiliate Summit. And I was awake and there all day. I mean, we flew together, right? Like, I was just normal. And when you don't drink and you take care of yourself, you get extra hours in your life, right? Like, you get extra days.
Your mornings when people are less likely to bother you too, right? Like,
exactly. And not only that, like, I would never call anybody out by name because I truly want people to be successful in our industry. But I did pass out hundreds of shots or whatever. But I saw some people in there that at like 10:30 at night or 11, whenever we were there, were just completely hammered and stumbling around and couldn't finish a sentence and whatever. Some of these people were CEOs. And I just look at that and I'm like, how do I trust you with money? Right? Like, you're out, you're surrounded by customers and potential customers, and you can't have a sentence? Like, you can't say anything without slurring and spitting on someone? That's not behavior that reflects well on you. And when you do that, it reflects poorly on your employees, It reflects poorly on your customers. Everything. And maybe someone watches this and they're like, that's bullshit. I'm gonna do what I want. Like, fuck this guy. I don't care. I collect haters like Pokemon. Even those people know I'm right. And that's it. Go to a club sober and see someone who's stumbling around and ask yourself, am I willing to extend that person $100,000 in credit? And if you are, you're a fucking idiot. Like, that's the truth of it. But then you see people who are running great businesses and are like super disciplined. Those are the people I look up to. Those are the ones I aspire to be, because I want all of my team to be proud of what they're doing. And that all starts with how we carry ourselves, And we do let our team at Ringba drink if they want to, but they know the rules. Like, we have a one strike policy. And our team is really, really great about it. Like, they're adults and we reward them for being adults. And our customers always tell me, like, our team behaves really well.
I can be a testament to this. Yep.
And, I don't want to take credit for their behavior, but I will tell you, as a leader, no matter what, people are going to live up to like 80, maybe 90% of what you're doing. And so if you're leading people and you're not taking care of your health and you're out trashed at trade shows and whatever, your team is not going to take you seriously. And you are certainly not going to be able to hire world-class talent.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm very direct. Some people, it rubs the wrong way. But I will tell you, I have some brilliant people that work for us at Ringba, and I don't think they have any concerns about my leadership, because they know they can reach out. They know I'm not doing anything stupid, and they love our brand and what we're working on. And I'm actually surprised that some of these people work for us. Shocked sometimes, But I think that's just in the consistency of how we grow the business, and a lot of it has to do with this. So, and by the way, I like learned how to have fun again this year. So like, I'm not knocking fun. I want to go have more. But you can have fun without like just being a college age degenerate, right? Like, and I've literally seen people throw up at trade shows. Like, I mean, one of my friend's employees 10 years ago dropped a bag of cocaine in front of the police, like in Vegas. They were from overseas.
Oh, wow.
And the entire team didn't tell the CEO because they wanted to like protect the employee. And I had dinner with the CEO and half their team that night. CEO walks in late, sits down. They're like, oh, hey, he's here. I said, which one of you wants to tell him? If you don't, I will. And they were like, oh my God, this motherfucker. And they told him. He got up, he left, fired him, sent him home. As he should. Yeah, as he should. And I respect that CEO a lot. He's been a friend for a really long time, done some very big shit, and always carried himself well. Right?
Walk me through your routine.
Okay.
Nutrition, supplements, exercise, like everything.
So every morning I wake up and have a protein shake, 2 scoops of pure whey, collagen, glucosamine, and creatine into a shake, which is 48, 58, 63 grams of protein. I do 3 of those a day. And then Manny Z forced me to eat more meat recently, and we were having a conversation about this. And so for breakfast, I don't generally eat, or I'll eat like maybe a 6 or an 8 ounce steak or something. If I'm going to hot Pilates, I won't eat at all because I'll just throw up. Like, there's just no way. And then if I do hot Pilates, I'll eat lunch after, and then dinner. I actually eat out almost every day for dinner. And I just go protein heavy. And I track the macros, MyFitnessPal. It's not that complicated. I can usually handicap it at this point, right? Like on the plane here, I had 5 gigantic shrimp and 1.5 steaks. I scraped all the sauce off. And
probably like 60% protein, 30% fat, and then 10% carbs. or less.
Yeah. Or less on the fat, actually, because I like lean meat.
That was a pretty lean steak, actually.
Yeah. And when I eat a lot of hanger, which is very lean, a lot of shrimp, you know, yeah, just whatever I can get my hands on that's protein. Basically, I eat that. I'm up 13 pounds from my bottom, which was maybe 4 months ago. I'll show you some pictures. Like I have pictures of the progression. And so now I'm trying to gain weight. But I don't have a lot of fat, but I have a lot of skin. Yeah.
It'll show.
I mean, yeah. I went and I got RF microneedling, which is what pregnant women get after they have their child, after childbirth. And that is, I got a lot of respect for the ladies, by the way. Not a lot of men do this. But they essentially stab you with 64 needles 1,250 times and shoot radio frequency into your skin at various depths and essentially burn and kill the skin so that it replaces the skin cells. Guys, thank you. And so, like, I've done that procedure twice, and I take copper tripeptide and TB500 to help heal that quicker. And I've had about an inch of loose skin tightened thus far.
Those are injections.
Yeah, the TB500 and the copper tripeptide are prescription injections from compounding pharmacies. The TB500 helps with soft tissue and wound repair. It's a naturally producing substance in your body that you basically get is this synthetic peptide that is the equivalent. And then same with the copper tripeptide, which causes collagen and elastin production in the skin and tightens it, like just, right? Makes it much healthier. So it actually can remove some wrinkles and some other things. So that one's weird because it's blue. And yeah, you inject that. So that's my routine for the skin as I try to tighten it up. But it's just going to take a while.
Any other supplements, or you mentioned you're working with a doctor?
Yeah. So I've been having my blood tested quarterly, and then we review the markers and then make adjustments where possible. So I've made a bunch of adjustments. It may seem like I'm going crazy, but most of the things that I'm working with now are like the least intrusive, or they cause natural production of hormones in your body that just may not be there anymore. For instance, males in their mid-30s lose all of their growth hormone production in their pituitary glands. And so that makes it much harder to lose weight, much harder to build muscle. You feel more sluggish, your metabolism slows down. When you don't have muscle, it causes injuries and all this other stuff. So for that, you have a few options. You have like semirelin, tesamorelin, and hexarelin. And in that order is the order of strength. Hexamorelin has some side effects that affects a small percentage of people that use it, but they're permanent. So I wasn't interested in that. And then I watched Huberman's podcast on this, actually, and he also was not interested in that. And so I take tesamorelin, and that's really great. It's like amazing. I don't have any side effects. The only problem with that type of thing, though, is you do need quarterly blood tests. You have to pay attention to your blood because when you're producing growth hormone, even naturally, like when you're a kid, everything grows. And so if you get cancer, knock on wood, or something like that, it accelerates it. And so that may be naturally why the body turns this off as you age. I haven't read about it, but it would make sense. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong here. I'll Google it when we're done. But that has made it a lot easier for me to repair the injuries and grow very lean, dense muscle. I can't get bulk, but lean, dense muscle is definitely growing. And then also males, when they hit like 35 plus, their testosterone levels drop drastically. And I guess not surprisingly, mine was at 800 naturally, which is, I think, the average for like a 20-year-old. I don't know. Maybe there's a reason people call me hardcore or a robot or whatever. But I take a peptide called enclomiphene, which has raised my testosterone close to 1,300. And I no longer wake up with any brain fog whatsoever. If I need to get 2 hours sleep one night, it doesn't matter.
Because you get deep sleep, regardless,
Exactly.
which is more important than sleeping a longer duration.
Exactly. And I mean, some people get really aggressive when they get into that range, but for me, not so much. I don't know why. I'm just like my normal level of aggressive. I do feel slightly more, I don't know if motivated is the word, maybe ambitious, right? Like it's just driven. Yeah, you know what? That's the perfect descriptive word for this. But that also helps with muscle growth and for me, stress management. And it's been quite a good run since I started on it. Also, again, no side effects for me. And again, I monitor my blood quarterly. I also
Are you cool to share all of your results before and after on the screen somewhere?
I won't give you my whole blood test. Most of it is irrelevant. But for tests, I mean, it's like 800, 1292 or whatever it is.
You see the chart.
I don't have a chart. It's just the two numbers. It's funny because I was talking to Bill Somerville, and I told him this was in August of last year. I was like, no, I think my testosterone's about 1100. He was like, no, it's not. And then I sent him the blood test, and he was like, you're going to need to watch out for your prostate. This is crazy. And I was like, oh, yeah, here's that. It's like ultra low, perfect health, knock on wood again. And he's like, oh, damn. Okay. I don't know. What are you doing now? Like, how do I do this? And so I take that. I also take NAD plus subcutaneously every day. And NAD plus is the precursor to ATP, which is the base fuel unit that the mitochondria in your cells burn. And so that's really great for energy. I don't know if it's, like there's anecdotal information about it out there that it causes neurogenesis and repairs brain tissue, that type of thing. I don't know if that's actually happening, but it's very interesting for me to feel the consistency and energy level with that. And it just gives me a very slight but noticeable amount of additional focus when I need to do highly complex tasks, right? Like if I need to write some software, dig through 1 trillion rows of data, or, do complicated math that I don't know how to do because I didn't go to school and I got to like Google and read how to do the fucking quadratic equation or whatever it is, right? Like, or some calculus, which I didn't go to calculus, figure out calculus. And I do the math on a Bloom filter, which is, I don't know, it's caching, high speed information retention and retrieval. And I'm like, I don't have to do that. And so I would get a little ADHD before, but with the NAD plus, I don't. Like, I'll just sit down and do it.
Lock it.
Just super kid do. Which is amazing. I took BPC 157 for 5 months before it was banned because of my rotator cuff tear that never healed. And then I did that for 3 months, didn't stop lifting, and it just healed.
Guns and safe.
Yeah. I mean, that's why the Olympics banned it. But no side effects. Just like whatever. And the BPC 157 naturally occurs in your gut. It's produced in your intestines. And it's basically a synthetic amino acid of the actual substance that your body produces. No wonder the drug companies don't want people to have it, right? Because it just heals.
It works too good.
Yeah, exactly. And then I also take dihexacetate, which is really interesting. That is an experimental drug for people with early onset dementia or Alzheimer's. and it helps with memory recovery and conversion of short-term to long-term memory. And it's same type of thing, an amino acid that can go through the brain-blood blood-brain barrier, right? I'm not a doctor, by the way. Get your own.
It's not medical advice.
Not medical advice. I may not know what I'm talking about at all. I just Google shit. I don't have a degree. I almost dropped out of high school. I'm not smart. Don't listen to me. And so I've noticed a slight improvement in long-term memory recall. Yeah, and so the way I think about this is like if I can get 1% improvement in any cognition whatsoever, the return on investment is outrageous.
Are you concerned with any unknown side effects that may come up?
No.
In your opinion, would you say the short-term benefits outweigh for the small fraction that there could be a cost to this?
What I would assert is that if you drink alcohol for 10 years, you're not considering there's side effects to everything. Do I think that there might be long-term side effects for what I'm doing and the fact that I have doctors reviewing my lab results all the time? We're trying to optimize for this. Maybe. But I feel a lot more comfortable with those level of side effects than I do like what most people do on a regular basis.
Day-to-day life.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Like, oh, you'll eat McDonald's all the time. Oh, you're eating shit food and drinking and smoking cigarettes and not exercising and like drinking tap water and Flint or whatever the hell you're doing, right? I feel like most people create a lot of their own problems. I'm okay with this type of problem because we're paying attention to. If you keep doing it, I'm going to keep yelling. I'm going to make you go sit up there with the flight attendant. I'm fine with that too. Swear.
So tell me more about your experience working with a doctor, a medical professional through this whole process.
Sure. So like they review my markers and labs and then talk about what we want to work on. In fact, the doctors are more aggressive than me. Like they wanted me to take hexarelin. They wanted me to try some more aggressive compounds because people see greater results faster with them. But I was like, listen, I want to taper this back a little bit and I want to titrate in. Go slower and longer in, and just see if I have any results and what's working for me. And I have plenty of time to do that. So over the last almost year at this point, I've tested a few things, decided to keep some, remove others.
How do you isolate and identify what is driving the result, outcome, feelings?
Well, a lot of these things are optimizing for different markers or doing different things. So, for instance, I put BPC into my shoulder. That has no effect whatsoever on mood or cognition or anything like that. So it's just simply soft tissue recovery. This is a very clear thing, right? An increase in testosterone has a very clear side effect and a blood marker, right? Like you see it, you feel it, and it is very apparent. Like it is not you know. And I think that the more intelligent the human is, the more they notice the difference, right? Because just a slight increase in something can have a really big outcome.
You're also very in tune with your body because you've been exercising your whole life.
Yeah, and paying attention and whatever. And so with those things, I notice those type of results are separate. Now, how do I compare tesamorelin with the increase in testosterone and muscle growth? Well, it is scientific consensus that higher testosterone results in more muscle growth, right? And then tesamorelin is specifically used for that, generally with HIV patients that can't put on weight because of the disease. And so it stimulates the pituitary gland. We know growth hormone helps you grow. This is a very simple, logical way of viewing it. And then obviously I'm looking at how much weight I can lift and recovery times and things like that. with like the skin related copper tripeptide and TB500 for wounds. Like, I went in and got the RF microneedling, and the nurse practitioner that did it knows how long it takes for the scar tissue to go away on average with people, and there's a recovery timeline that is known because so many people do it. And so she's like, your wound should not be visible in about 2 to 3 weeks. So by day 8, it was gone, right? And so if you know that by day 8 it's gone, and you're like, okay,
What else could it have been?
exactly, what else could it have been? Now, did the testosterone, the higher testosterone, maybe help with some of the recovery? Probably. But we did this. So with Kim just lost 4 pounds, right? And for her, that's a lot. She weighs like 94 pounds or something. She's 4'11".
4.2% of her body weight.
Yeah, exactly. And she's just shredded. You can see her abs, all of them, like, just shredding. And so she lost 4 pounds and wanted to tighten up and there was just a little bit of skin here. And so she tested the Tropper tripeptide, and we calipered it every day. And in I think it was 4 or 5 days, right? And it's much easier to see the results on her because of the scale of her relative. Yeah. And so, she used it for that purpose and stopped. These are not like, I don't think I'd say that all of them are like permanent use things. When BPC 157 was banned, I tried pentadeca arginate, which is the analog, and it doesn't work nearly as well. And so I've mostly stopped that. And I don't need it for recovery anymore. I'm strong enough now that, I'm not creating injuries that need to heal when I work up.
You want to recommend your doctor on this episode?
No, I don't, because I don't think that these things are for everybody. And if someone knows me personally and wants to talk to me about it, like, I'm happy to talk to them and see, whatever. And if necessary, I'll refer them to the doctor. But I don't think most people watching are going to read thousands of pages of medical research documentation to see if they vibe with these compounds before they use them. And so I'm not really comfortable suggesting this to people unless I talk to them.
So, to the general audience watching, if someone wanted to go down this path, what are your general recommendations?
I mean, for me, I'm not willing to go to a peptide website and buy unregulated substances, even though they're 1/4 the cost. I'm only willing to do things under the supervision of professionals that I trust and I feel know what they're doing. The doctor I'm working with right now is a former Green Beret medic. He's a PhD, and he does a lot of this work with a lot of soldiers that come back and have injuries, and he calls them his guys, and is thoughtful about it. And I've been doing this for a while before, but when I talked to him about it, he's like, you might be my healthiest patient, and also I have a bunch of questions for you, right? And I think that's important if you're going to do anything with your body. If you're going to try and biohack or whatever it is, you need to understand the pros and cons and risks of what you're doing, and then also understand what your goals are and when you'll stop, right? Like, what is the period of time you want to try it for? If side effects happen, what are you going to do about it? And think about those things. And so for me, I was very concerned about a lot of this when I started. I didn't necessarily want to do it. But I had a little bit of brain fog, and I had these injuries that weren't healing. And a doctor told me I was going to have to get surgery on my shoulder, and I was like, I'm not doing that. I don't feel like I need to do that. It should heal. And then one of our friends who's a trainer suggested that I talk to a doctor he knows, because he had an injury and he is BPC 157 and just healed like that. And I've done yoga for 15 years. I do a lot of Pilates. I've healed a lot of injuries that most people wouldn't because of the stretching and putting the time in to do the physical rehabilitation. And so I wanted to try this before I went and saw a doctor, right? And on Monday, I chest pressed with 385 pounds. So my shoulder's probably fine, right? But had I gone and gotten surgery, who knows what it would be. So I don't, obviously talk to a doctor, figure it out. But as I get older, I've just noticed that I need to start taking care of myself and start looking into these things. But then also, what's the actual return on investment rate? It's not cheap, but when I do the math, I'm just like, damn, it's one of the best investments I've made.
And after you feel the benefits, it's not even a question of, you would spend it any day, right?
Yeah. Well, like I said, if I get 1% increased productivity,
the return financially is, and just your life.
Yeah.
Quality of your life, man.
Yeah, it's incredible. And so I'm the happiest I've ever been. I'm the healthiest I've ever been. I'm super fulfilled right now. My stress management is like crazy good at the moment. Like when I have to deal with something that's nonsense, I can very easily compartmentalize it and deal with it, and it doesn't affect me, and I still have a good day.
And Ringba's at the highest growth it's ever been.
Yep. Well, it is every day. Grows every day, right? But my relationship is incredible. I've made a lot more friends. Fuck, we went to 3 parties in a row the other night. That's unheard of for me. And I've been having a great time, right? And I think a lot of this has to do with me getting my health in order. Also feel more confident, right? Like I'll be vulnerable on the podcast. When you're not in great shape and you walk into a room, it's like not good. Like people look at you differently. And now when I walk into a room, it's very different. And I think that's super important. Also, for me, it's important to me that, I'm operating at the highest level for the people closest to me. I want them to feel confident that they're with me and like around me and that I'm having a positive influence and all these things. So it's like super important to me as a person. Yeah. And, my girl, she's like, there's no reason why you shouldn't be in incredible shape. It's not like you're not capable of it. So fucking go do it. And it's like, okay, right? Like, why not? Like, there's only positive results that come from it. It's funny. I don't know if you watch this, Travis, but Travis Prouty and I have been in the industry for a really long time. Never really spoken, weren't friends. And at our pool party at Lead Gen World, we were doing selfies, and he's like, are you, like, you're not going to do one with me? And I was like, I don't know. Like, we don't hang out. And he looked sad. So we did a selfie. And he's like, how come we never really hung out or talked? And I was like, I don't know. And then we ended up at Manny Zuccarelli's CEO dinner later that night. And we were hanging out. And, I don't remember exactly what he said, but he basically said, like, let's be friends. And I'm like, all right, if you really want that. And so the first thing I did after that was start harassing him incessantly on a daily fucking basis about his health. Because when someone's friends with me, that's my commitment to care. And what I don't care about is whether they like me or not. What I care about is whether I can have a positive influence on their life, because I want to see them win. I want to see them do better, right? And if people don't like that, then that's fine. They go away. But if you're going to be my friends, like I'm only interested in being around people who are going to grow, because I need to be around growth. Forces me to be better, right? Like a very selfish act to help other people get better, believe it or not. And I love to see my friends win. And I only want to have people around me who want to see their friends win, because that's also a really rare thing. So I've been harassing Travis every single day, like every single day. When we were at Live, I texted him and was like, hey, are you awake? Cool, go get on the treadmill. Like, did you work out today? I'm not even nice about it. Like, I don't care. Only one option I see with him is I need him to be in better health again. He's got a bunch of kids, super caring guy. He wants to show up for everyone. He knows this. We talk about it. And it's just like right now, I don't have his permission to talk about this. I don't care. I want everyone who's watching to go talk to Travis Prouty and tell him that he needs to work out more. And then when you see the results, be proud of him and then tell him that. I want everyone to do that because I want him to be the most successful he possibly can be. And if that means I have to push him or I can push him to help him get there, I'm going to do it. It's like the only way I know how to operate. And he's working out. He was at the affiliate ball and I offered him a shot. He said no. That was a test, by the way. He's like, no, I'm not drinking, remember? I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, I don't forget. And so he didn't drink. At Affiliate Summit, he's just like, stop drinking. Really
I'm seeing this as a trend, actually.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it as a trend. Guys that have been partying their asses off since I've known them. Like, I really never drank that much of these things, but I had 3 beers in 4 nights. I can't believe we stayed in Vegas 4 nights. But last thing, because we are descending on the Ringba jet, which has been awesome to have these podcasts. Thank you for sponsoring this.
Yeah, my pleasure. We love podcast jet fuel.
But what is one big piece of advice that you'd like to share with everyone listening that kind of knows they need to level up, whether they're not working out or maybe they're reactive, but they're not really maximizing it? What's that piece of advice you'd like to make them that served you the most?
I don't have advice. What I will say is that people need to understand that if they're not taking care of themselves, who's really suffering is all the people they love and all the people they're responsible for. Because if you, especially as a man, are not your best self on a daily basis, your partner suffers, your children suffers, your employees suffer, the opportunities aren't as good as they possibly can be unless you are as good as you can possibly be. So if you're going to be a leader, you need to take responsibility for that and do your best and be your best self so that all the people around you have a chance at being their best selves. And so if you don't do that, you don't take care of your health, you don't grow as a person, you don't get better every day, you're failing all the people in your life that you care about. And that's a harsh reality, but if you can truly try to internalize what I just said, you can really change the lives of a lot of people. And so what we talked about here, is not about me. It's about all of them.
I just want to say, man, thank you not just for sitting down and being so honest and vulnerable, but for being the example.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, man. Until next time.